You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
It's a brand new season and the end of an era for sports out of pocket.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
We bring you the craziest controversies.
Really, in hindsight, could have injured Mookie Betts. To me, that deserves a lifetime ban.
Fire me up.
NBA Finals. Let me know. I think it's going to be the Nuggets and the Celtics this year.
I hate to say it, but Steven, you took the words out of my mouth.
And the final Twin Picks.
That's not a debate. That's not a debate. There's always a debate. There's always a debate. You can't debate Lamar Jackson.
And interviews you don't want to miss.
This is the Philly Sports Guy, and you're listening to Sports Out of Pocket.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson.
Hey, yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez from Z100 New York.
The final ride starts now.
Let's go!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Sports Out of Pocket because we have a very special guest that is going to be on our show today. Mr. Dylan Mathews from 92.9 The Game will be on the show later. Probably, running into some, certain issues to where he's not here right now, but we'll be on the show later. It's going to be an exciting time to talk with him because, man, it's March, and you know what that means.
It's
college
madness.
Basketball is taking over the sports world, and Jackson, you're 100% right. It is madness, and SEC is taking over the headlines because it is SEC or nothing right now for this March Madness bracket. And, hey, my Georgia Bulldogs might have a shot at getting in the NCAA tournament, and that is exciting. But before we get into all of that talk, I am with the most beautiful crew that I can do a sports show with. And also, man, we are snazzy today, man. What are we doing? Well, I mean, we're going to church today, aren't we, fellas?
Hey, we did get a sermon earlier today, I can tell you that.
Hey, she, listen, I loved her speech.
She was fantastic.
For those who aren't in the loop, we did Media Day today, so we met a bunch of professionals that have come through West Georgia and now are in the real world of making money, doing stuff that we hope to do in the future. So getting to do that today was really cool, so that's why we're all dressed up and snazzy today. But I don't know. How was you guys' day today? What did you think about Media Day?
I loved it. Very inspirational. I got driven, in this profession that we're looking at beyond what we're doing here at the station, and we all got to dress up. You look like Alan from The Hangover, actually, which is a compliment. By the way. I just thought with the facial and everything, you look very down to party, but professional at the same time.
Bro,
so, that's something hard to pull off. So
Amen.
Congratulations, Stephen.
Amen. I was excited about Media Day. We have a professor here at the University of West Georgia by the name of Trent Ross, and at Media Day, he wants us to shake hands and make those connections. I feel like we did that today.
And kiss those babies.
And kiss those babies.
Hey, you cannot say that on air without context, buddy. Everyone knows what that means, apparently. That's what I found out. Okay, well, apparently our generation does it, so that's a little scary thing to say on air. But, yeah, Media Day was great. Of course, Dylan Mathews had a tabling event. We all met up with him, got a great conversation, gave us a lot of great advice. So we are very excited to have him on the show. I'm honored that he's going to be taking my chair here in a little bit.
Hey, man, we cannot wait for it. And another thing that we cannot wait for and also understand is John Cena turning heel, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy times. Let's get into it.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We're in here talking about practice.
It's time for the latest sports controversies.
All right, now I understand WWE isn't exactly your understanding when you turn into Sports Out of Pocket. The last thing you think we're going to be talking about is WWE.
But you are the Slambert.
But dude, coming from a wrestling fan myself, there was something that happened over the weekend that absolutely shocked not only the wrestling world but just the world as a whole, because John Cena, I don't care if you don't watch wrestling, if nobody's, you haven't watched a day of wrestling in your life, everybody knows who John Cena is, Mr. You Can't See Me, Mr. Peacemaker, and the guy that we all grew up as, he was our hero, man. There was the guy that we thought was never going to be a bad guy, and in his last year of retirement, possibly a lot of people are saying controversially, he turned heel. He is now a bad guy with, again, shockingly, The Rock, and also surprisingly Travis Scott, which I didn't understand that was that. Like, listen, people have actually come to me and be like, "What's Travis Scott got to do with this?" And even me, who watches wrestling every week, is like, "I have no idea."
Steven, they've had guys like the Costco guys on there. I'm not surprised.
Well, that's
Travis
AEW.
Scott. Well,
Other company, yeah. I mean, dude,
when Logan Paul came in.
That's the thing.
Is now part of the
wrestling
WWE.
opens the door for that's the
anybody.
thing with like Triple H's creative is the fact that now Vince McMahon is gone. If this was Vince McMahon would never, and I mean ever, turn John Cena into a bad guy. But Triple H is the head of creative, and he did something that shocked the world. And now WrestleMania season has just kicked it up into high gear, and we are seeing a John Cena heel run.
You said it. People like Sports Out of Pocket listeners, and myself included. I'm not really honed in on the whole wrestling drama, but even being so zoned out of what's going on in the WWE, that is all I was hearing from everybody I was around. Even when I went online to go look at even sports news, it was headlined everywhere. So this is something that I had to take a deeper dive into myself, because I'm sitting here wondering what in the world happened that's got literally everybody and their mothers and their mother's mothers and their mother's dead mother talking about it. And it's interesting. I gotta say, like, for John Cena's, nearing retirement, we know the end's coming for him to turn heel out of nowhere and throwing everything off page. It's an exciting narrative for WWE and people who aren't even into it.
I think it's big for the sport too, or the entertainment aspect of it, because like you mentioned, for those who aren't even watching WWE, even if you don't watch it, you all know John Cena. So seeing John Cena make such a big headline in such a surprising way, it's getting those who don't view the WWE very often, it's turning their eyes towards the sport, to the entertainment, and it's getting them drawn into what's going on. And I think, well, Steven, I'm sure you know more than anybody, it's really good for the brand.
Well, it's like you said, John Cena is stealing the headlines, but somebody else who is just stealing left and right is Mr. Dyson Daniels. And controversially, not getting the respect that he deserves for Defensive Player of the Year. Chase, you want to go more into that?
Absolutely. In case you're not in with the loop, Dyson Daniels is currently he has the third best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, and you might be thinking, "Oh, that's pretty good." Yeah, that is pretty good, but not for Dyson Daniels, because he should be number one. There's a reason he's been named the Great Barrier Thief, and if you look at his numbers, he leads the NBA in total steals with 172. That's 3 steals per game. And the guy right behind him is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 110. That's a 62 steal difference. 62 still difference, and that's a wide gap. Thank you, Steve. That's been a long day. But Dyson Daniels currently has a defensive rating of 110.8. He is seen by many as the best perimeter defender in the league by far this year. And now, this is what's odd, though, and why I think it's very controversial, because the two people right behind him is Jaren Jackson Jr. ahead of him. Jaren Jackson Jr. for the Grizzlies is currently number one. He has a defensive rating of 109.9. That's averaging 1.6 blocks, 1.3 steals. Now, of course, he's seen as one of the most versatile defenders in the league, especially when it comes to inside defense. And then you look at Evan Mobley, who's ranked second with a 107.5 defensive rating. So Dyson Daniels, in terms of steals and defensive rating, is ahead of everybody who's listed above him. But I was reading a article by Garrett Chapman of 92.2, and in his article about this controversial situation, he made a very good point that I didn't really see this, but I mean, it's a good point. The Hawks collectively is the 20th ranked team in defensive efficiency. The Grizzlies are number 7 and the Cavs are number 1. So could it be that just because the Hawks have such a mediocre and or bad defensive rating, is that causing the analytics to maybe overlook what Dyson is contributing to the defensive end? Because I think that could be a real possibility, because it's a popularity contest. We all know that.
I have a theory about this, and it is a popularity contest. We've seen it with the NBA All-Star game. We've seen it with Trae Young when he was on the Hawks.
He's admitting it.
I've always admitted Trae Young deserved to be an All-Star this season without being replaced due to injury. But, I think it genuinely comes down to, team stature, team record. Like LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball deserved to be an All-Star this year. And the Charlotte Hornets are not performing up to par as such as the Cavaliers or the Celtics and teams like that. I think it just comes to team stature, team record. They more face on, who would be more pleasable or I guess appealing in these rankings.
It's just a matter of like they want to get good ratings for the All-Star week, and so they put out all the stars, even if they're having down years, quote unquote. They want to bring in guys that are going to get eyes on the product.
Yep.
And I think Trae Young is one of those guys, and it's the thing is like he's having like one of his best years.
I think it is his best year collectively.
And it's like you said, man, and it's the same reason that Dyson Daniels is getting overlooked. It's because we're just not one of the teams that people are looking at. We're not a respectable team. Yeah. We have been mid for so long that we have just. It doesn't matter. Like all of these experts, all of the analytics, it just goes out the window because nobody's paying attention to us. And until we make some moves, until we bring some guys in that we can actually get some attention to, that's when you're going to see respect for Trae Young. That's when you're going to see respect for Dyson Daniels. And like you said, even with the team not going up to par for being defense, Dyson Daniels still deserves the respect for being defensive player of the year. He's been unbelievable.
Also, I think I made a mistake. I said Garrett Chapman at 92.2. I meant
92.9.
I corrected you.
Thank you.
Under my breath.
Well, speaking of a team that is being talked about, I'm going to talk about the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant. If you do not know the controversy behind this, Kevin Durant and Coach Mike Budenholzer seem briefly feuding on sideline before Suns comeback win over the Clippers. And Kevin Durant, he's been known for his disputes with coaches and other players throughout his entire career in the NBA.
Just another day.
It doesn't say what this incident was specifically about, but it genuinely does not surprise me that Kevin Durant acts this way with his coaches, because it's been seen throughout his entire career. It was especially seen with his time with the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr. During those finals.
Can I ask you? Did it look like was it an on-court dispute like during the game? Was it because they were down by so much? Like, did it seem like just a common coach and player disagreement, or did it seem a lot more than that?
It just said it was an apparent miscommunication. The two had a discussion over that, and apparently Kevin Durant tore his arm away from what Mike Budenholzer was and spat at him. So I don't really know what it was about, but it doesn't look like Kevin Durant is meshing well in Phoenix anymore.
Didn't Mike Budenholzer even a couple games ago go into a timeout and tell Devin Booker to stop being so talkative with his teammates, because Devin Booker was trying to collectively get the team locked in and focus in on the next play. And Mike Budenholzer was like, Devin Booker, just stop talking so much. And I'm like, he's the team leader. He's the veteran on the court. How does that make any sense? It's whole miscommunication everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like this is just the classic mix of old style coaching with new style players. Mike Budenholzer has a way that he does things, and some players just aren't a fan of it. And I don't blame them. It's just like a miscommunication, but you have to find a medium there. And right now, if Mike Budenholzer is going to be stuck in his ways, he's going to lose the respect of the team real quick. He's got to mesh well with the star players and like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but also at the same time, players got to respect the coach in return. Kevin Durant, don't get me wrong, man, star of the game, great player. You have earned the respect of everybody that is in this league, but you also have to step up and be a leader as well. And I don't know if we've seen that from Kevin Durant over in his career. But with all of that being said, Twins, it's time to get debating.
Two brothers, same birthday, completely different takes.
Oh, boy! Yeah!
It's time for Twin Picks.
Now for this week's Twin Pick topic, I forgot who won last time's win.
This guy
Twin
to my
picks.
right,
Chase Jefferson. Chase, this means you will go first.
Ooh, I like
today's topic and today's show is all about March Madness. So I'm going to give you a topic related to March Madness. Give me a Cinderella team that will make a far run in this March Madness tournament this year, starting with Chase Jefferson in 3, 2, 1.
That's tough. A Cinderella team that's going to make a run in March Madness. Okay. I got one. And this is an SEC team. Steven, you mentioned it at the start of the show. And the SEC, if you are not paying attention to college basketball, is loaded.
Now, let me kind of I'm going to try and pick your brain here.
Pick my brain,
because
Steven.
you got your favorite SEC teams. I mean, you got Kentucky might make a run. You got Tennessee. You got Auburn. But there's one team in the SEC that is making a lot of headway.
I think you're
because they're getting some news, man. They've been playing some great basketball, and I think they were ranked top 10 at one point. I don't know if they still are or not.
What is it?
Are you talking about Mizzou?
I'm talking about the Tigers of Missouri, Steven. He
Way to
read my
pick.
mind.
Way to
Now,
pick.
the reason I'm considering this is Cinderella team is because there is a lot of disapproval in the eyes of the audience towards Missouri, and the reason being is inconsistency. Now, this is a team that I think this is an issue that I think a lot of teams in college basketball are struggling with, especially Missouri, because you don't really know what version of Missouri you're going to get on a Saturday or a midweek. But we've seen Missouri in instances go head-to-head and beat Alabama, one of the top-tier teams in the nation. But this is something Missouri does very well. They are very, very good at drawing fouls. If you look at the teams who have gone to the free throw line this year, I'm pretty sure they're top 5. Actually, no, I know for a fact they're top 5 in all free throw attempts because of their 2 guard leaders who, when they go inside, they're very shifty, they're very versatile, and most of the time, the bigs in the paint just foul them when they go inside, and a lot of their points on a game-to-game basis is at the free throw line. Now, offensively, I don't really see a problem with Missouri, but they have a very low defensive efficiency, and that's where their inconsistency comes to play. I have 1 minute, and that's all I need. But we have seen teams in the past who have had a low defensive efficiency. One of them, most notably, just 2 years ago, was Kansas State. No, excuse me. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Doesn't matter.
2 years ago.
Kansas State made the Elite Eight.
Because they beat Kentucky, and I remember that season.
Yes, that was 2 years ago. But heading into the March Madness, they were bottom 100 on defense efficiency. But when depending on where it really depends on the seeding and what region they're in, because Kansas State got really good matchups that match well with their low defensive efficiency. But I think if Missouri can go in the same favor, they could be one of those teams that sneak in the Elite Eight. And if you're not careful, they might sneak in the Final Four. Watch out for them Tigers, baby.
Okay.
All right, Andrew, you will start. You get 3 minutes in 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm about to take my sports coat off for this one. So I'm actually going to go cross-conference. I'm going to go hang around the Atlantic side of the United States because I think that is where you're going to find your key under-the-radar teams because it's a conference that is viewed upon as a weak conference, rightfully so. You're going Missouri Tigers. This is in a prominent SEC conference that a lot of teams are going to be, from that conference, are going to be in the big dance, meaning a lot of those big teams that could potentially make deep runs have scouted Missouri. They have played Missouri, so teams down the line are going to see a team they have already seen before. North Carolina of the ACC, who is known to be a juggernaut in college basketball, now stands at 1 win away from that 20-win mark, and they are in a hot streak right now, finding all the right momentum, putting the right pieces together under head coach Hubert Davis. And they have a fifth-year senior guard, R.J. Davis, and we've seen teams from years past, San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, with senior guards, a guy that's been around the mentality of the game to lead that young group. That is the key factor that I think Missouri is missing because they don't have a lot of veteran guards.
Oh, Missouri has a lot of seniors on their team, buddy.
Not as much as you think. Go look at their team. Not as much as you think. North Carolina with Elijah Davis at the 4 position, one of the best rebounders in the entire game. This is a North Carolina team that They have some early season quad 1 wins. We saw them play in the Maui tournament. Teams against UConn that they took down. They just about took down Auburn in the Maui tournament as well. Came just a few possessions shy after making a big comeback. And they took down Michigan State as well that a lot of people seem to forget. And now late in the season, they had a little rough patch in the middle of the road, but Missouri did too. So I think that should be factored in. But in the March Madness tournament, think about what happens when they get past those early rounds and they edge their way into the Sweet 16 when they come across teams maybe from the SEC. They're going to have almost no scouting report on North Carolina because their head is on a swivel from what happened during the SEC tournament and regular season play. In North Carolina,
they're going to put all their chips on the table because they're, again, under the radar. They have been underlooked the entire season. But look how they've been playing basketball as of late, averaging nearly 100 points in the span of their last 5 games. And they have been topped with some of the best defensive teams in the
20
ACC.
seconds.
Some ACC teams that they played had better defensive numbers than the SEC teams that you've noted before. And the inconsistency of Missouri is going to kill them when it comes to those later rounds of the tournament. As for North Carolina, who has good offensive and defensive efficiency, when those two mesh together and the experience from R.J. Davis and Elijah Davis, it's going to collectively come to some big upsets.
Look at this.
I don't know. You're done. You're done.
Quad one wins.
North Carolina has quad one wins. I just named them all.
Debate is over. You chose North Carolina. You chose Missouri. Steven, what are your thoughts on this? I'm going to throw it to you first because I already have my pick.
This I had to go through it because like you guys know, man, college basketball not my forte. Last time we did the brackets, I was second to last when it came to predicting the teams
Auburn?
going into Final Four. I did not pick Auburn. I picked North Carolina to win the championship, which is why it's very interesting that you picked North Carolina.
Well, they were a high seed.
They were,
season.
man. They were
different.
one of the favorites. But I mean, we, in hindsight, probably should have picked UConn because we all pretty much thought UConn was going to make it into the finals. But yeah, very interesting argument on both sides. Now, the one thing that does concern me when it comes to North Carolina is the fact that they have taken a lot of tough losses, especially against Stanford and was it Villanova, I believe, that they lost to.
Which those are like quad 2,
tough
three
losses. It was like 1 point loss, and just like the offensive efficiency hasn't been consistent for them this year. And sometimes like they'll have leads in the second half, and I'm trying to look over it. Like sometimes they're just not. They can't put the games away, and then like they let the teams come back. Missouri, again, like levels of inconsistency with Missouri, like you just said in your debate. It's the fact that Missouri,
Missouri gives up 100 points a game.
Like you said, yeah, they'll go up against Auburn and get blown out by 20. But like you said, sometimes they'll go up against Alabama. They beat Florida. I just looked at that. They also were able to beat Florida.
They had like 23 free throws that game.
So like if like when the defense is there, like. They're on, man, and the offensive production is definitely there as well. I think there's, one team that kind of stands out above, and it's just because, like, I feel they're ready to make a run this year.
Before you give an answer, we're matching, Steven. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That is who. That is
sports code.
Yeah. No, I'm voting for Ant.
I knew that. That's North Carolina. That's North Carolina, boy.
I got to go Tar Heel, man.
All right, Steven, you said North Carolina. I like both of your sides. Again, North Carolina has picked it up within the later half of the season.
6-game win streak,
on a 6-game win streak. And Missouri has had notable wins against Florida. Alabama, the only thing with Alabama, I discussed this on the playbook yesterday, they just can't really beat. They have sluggish defense.
So does Missouri.
So does Missouri.
But their offense is insane.
There is an abundance of SEC teams that can really make it far in this tournament and have a lot of Cinderella potential. North Carolina, Andrew, if it was last year's North Carolina team, I can see them making a deep run.
This is a Cinderella run, though.
This is
not supposed to be
run.
the last year's North Carolina team.
Again, the inconsistency with North Carolina, I understand they're on a 6-game win streak, but if they had, if this was a Cinderella team with Harrison
getting hot
Ingram,
at the right time.
Armando Bacot, and like Brady, the guys that had on the team last year, then maybe
Missouri's way deeper.
Again,
Missouri is way deeper.
I
than North Carolina.
I did a lot of research on this Mizzou team, and I'm talking about SEC teams with an abundance to make a Cinderella run. I believe that Mizzou is one of those teams.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Chase Jefferson.
All right, Mr.
So
Barker.
This goes to Jason Barker, Mizzou or North Carolina.
Jason knows ball. I trust his opinion.
Mizzou.
Hold on, I got to give him a little bit of a drum.
Cinderella run.
Let's go, baby.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go. I also
Mizzou.
want to argue that Missouri would not be a Cinderella run because they're going to get a pretty high seed in the
No, they're
tournament.
not. Dude, no.
They
look.
are ranked 8th. They are ranked in the top 10.
Okay, but
So
how does that really qualify as a Cinderella run?
Because there's a big group of SEC teams.
There is, but
that
they're
are
one of the
above them.
Okay, but
That's
they're one of the
people
highly
overlook
ranked.
Missouri.
Missouri
They're a
has
top 5 SEC team, though.
Look, here's the thing. Okay,
I don't
know
think
what?
that qualifies, but sure, to each its own.
You had a chance to match up with me and you chose North Carolina.
I went
That's all I gotta
Cinderella.
say.
You went.
I think this is Cinderella.
It's a Cinderella
Missouri
team.
to me is Cinderella.
If they're going to be a
Cinderella
top
team.
5 seed in the tournament, that's not
Now,
Cinderella.
to be fair, like I think when me and Jackson were like going over this, it was just Cinderella teams that we think are going to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
And
NC State
Missouri
made the Final Four
If
as an 11
Missouri
seed.
makes the Final Four, they're Cinderella,
see.
man.
I
That's a
agree.
Cinderella story.
I can guarantee you not a lot of people have them pass the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
100%. But with that being said, man, Andrew's going to have to play some catch up this season because he is now down.
I got 2 more Twin Picks
to
left.
nothing.
I gotta
and
sweep the board.
man, last semester, man, you got to pick it up, brother.
I told
it is
y'all.
time to lock in
I told
and
y'all.
get some wins.
This
back.
one's worth 5 points.
I'm back.
This takes
Whoa.
all the
Whoa.
Twin Picks.
Whoa.
But with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a few seconds to show some love to the other shows and also take a few seconds to welcome our special guest, Dylan Mathews. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, do you want to be part of Wolf Sports Network? Yeah! Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us. Woohoo! So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there. You're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through a WIT program right now.
Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports Back.
Great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports. The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Well, first we were a podcast, to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. Then we turned into a live show.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Triple Threat live show.
And this semester is our final ride. But don't worry, we're not going to stop with the action. From our debates in triple play and the best snake drops across the nation.
Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers. You don't want to miss out, so tune in every Friday from 11 to 12 only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help produce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We are collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/bookdrive. That's wolfradio.com/bookdrive. College students who binge drink alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project as a result of drinking. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign to remind students drinking should be done responsibly and in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculties won't take hangovers as excuses. Jackson.
Crazy.
Let's get into some cash or trash.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
It's Sports Out of Pockets, cash or trash.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest, Mr. Dylan Mathews from 92.9 The Game.
What up, though? What up, though? Man, it's been a long time since I've been on these Wolf Sports Network airwaves, and it's good to be back, man. Thank y'all so much for having me. Before we start anything else, I want to say this. From when I graduated to where y'all have taken this program and this radio station now, I just want to give y'all flowers truly and sincerely through creativity that y'all have, what y'all have been doing on social media, and the way that y'all have carried this radio station since I left till up in this point now. Y'all have been doing an amazing job, and I'm not glazing when I say this. It's not just because I'm here right now. I have truly felt this way ever since I graduated, and I've been keeping up with y'all ever since. Y'all have taken what we did at the Wolf y'all have taken that and made it better times 10. And the awards and the accolades speak for themselves. So congratulations to y'all and what you have made this radio station. I am truly, truly proud of y'all, and I cannot say that enough, man. So thank y'all for having me.
We'll flip the table on you. You know, people say that you're the one that started the spark in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
No glaze, though. No glaze, right?
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Man, I just try to bring energy to this radio station. I just try to bring my personality and put my heart into it. And like I said, y'all have taken, you know, maybe the foundation that I may or may not have built, and y'all have just upped the ante so much. And like when I see what y'all do on the social media, from the skits to how y'all promote the radio station, like I'm like, man, these people are geniuses. Like I wish I would have, like, no, I'm dead serious when I say this. I wish I would have had the thought of, man, like, doing a skit to promote the show or promote the radio station, like just the stuff y'all are doing. I'm like, man, I wish I would. I truly tell myself this every time I see y'all post. I'm like, man, I wish I would have thought of that when I was here. Like the stuff y'all are doing, it's remarkable to me, and I'm really truly proud of y'all, man. Each and every one of y'all. So thank y'all for having me.
We appreciate it. We're only able to walk this path because of the people that paved it, and like you know, not just the people that worked here, man. But I know they don't like us, you know, saying their name. But Michael and Sean, man, they run an unbelievable program. And like you said, man, like when it was y'all had one sports show, and now we've got like 4 during the week. We've got so many people that are here at the station just giving out amazing content, and it's just incredible to be a part of it. But let's go ahead and move into what we're here for. It's time for some Cash or Trash. And Andrew, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
What opinion do you have for us to say trash to?
Okay, so since no, you know what? I'm surprised that wasn't turned on.
I know.
Me.
Hey, look, I was like, I got to make it even, bro.
Andrew, they didn't even give you a chance, bro. What's up with that,
and
man?
You know, I'm glad they're throwing the shade at me because pressure makes diamonds, guys. Okay, and y'all trashed my last March Madness team, so I'm gonna throw another team that can make a deep run in March Madness. I'm talking about the Terrapins of Maryland University, guys. You talk about an elite starting 5. They've got a terrific point guard in Jacoby Gillespie. They got Derek Queen and Julia Reese, who are a dominant front court. I think the best front court in the entire Big Ten, and they are battle tested. They have their losses have been extremely tight, and people boast about the SEC basketball conference and how they just elevate the game. But I think that's kind of overshadowed the Big Ten in a very unfortunate way, because I think the Big Ten is up there in the ranks with what the SEC is doing right now, and I think the Big Ten is fully equipped to some insanely deep March Madness teams. And I'm talking about this Maryland team. And they are one of only 5 teams in the entire country that rank in the top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And you bring a team to the court when it comes to a group of 64, I think it's a team that's going to be hard to contain in a whole 40-minute ball game. I mean, these guys are deep. Their bench is one of the most efficient in the Big Ten. Maryland, if they're a lottery ticket, you buy in right now. If they're stock, you buy it. I think I have them going as far as the Elite 8.
Ooh, Andrew likes turtles. Andrew likes turtles.
I love turtles, man. Love them. I'm a turtle guy.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying Maryland make it into the Elite 8.
Elite 8.
I can see.
I take it back, man. I'll cash that.
Let's go.
I'll cash
that
up, man. I like Maryland. I do. Maryland's got a great offense, man.
Sure.
But like you said, a lot of these college teams, there is like the one thing that just like across the board that worries me about a lot of them is sometimes that defense is a little inconsistent, man. Sometimes they're not getting enough defensive pressure and they're letting teams get back. Like they'll build up like big leads, like 10, 12-point leads. And bro, it's the same thing with the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Like even though I know the Bulldogs aren't going to make a deep run, they're going to be first round exit, but at least they'll make a tournament. Maryland is that team that I feel like, the offense is going to be there, absolutely. But it's just a matter of like when you build up that lead, are they going to be able to put it away?
Yeah.
Like are they going to be able to have that great second half play? So like I'm going to cash it, but with a little asterisk next to it.
Sure. That's fair.
All right, so I have my takes on. I'm a big college basketball guy, and I'm more of an SEC guy. But being on a college sports show on the Playbook has opened my eyes to Big Ten basketball.
Good.
So shout out to Aiden and Brandon. I don't know where they're at right now. I'm pretty sure Brandon's in that control room. But a lot of people have been talking about this Michigan team, this Michigan State team, this Wisconsin team, but nobody's talking about this Maryland team. They have notable wins against Wisconsin, against a really strong UCLA team who happens to be top 25 in rebound right now. So when it comes to that, and it comes to also this Michigan State team, who in my opinion is the Big Ten champion right now in college basketball, and they only lost to them by 3. And again, I'm not really too familiar with this Maryland basketball team, but I see guys such as
I didn't even mention Rodney Rice.
Derek Queen, a guy who averages 15.9 points per game, 9 rebounds, nationally ranked top 25 in both of those statistical categories. Do I have Maryland as a Elite 8 run? I'm not too sure due to the other teams in that
same thing
in that Midwest region. So maybe a Sweet 16. I'm not too sure about an Elite 8. So cash asterisk.
Hey.
Asterisk.
All right, Dylan, what you got?
Yeah.
Man, so am I just responding to his?
You're gonna cash or trash it.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna cash you. I'm gonna cash you. Look, guard play we know how important guard play is when we talk about the NCAA tournament. It means everything. You can have a dominant big man, and that's cool, but at the end of the day, your guards are where it starts. And with their consistent guard play that they have, I think Maryland can at least make it to the Sweet 16. Elite 8, there's a chance. I'm not quite sure about it, so I might have to put a little asterisk by it, but you know what? I'm going to cash you out on that
one. It's like you said, man, because we're talking. I'm glad that you're bringing up teams that are outside of the SEC, because right now SEC is getting all the love.
Sure.
Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Missouri. There's not even joking, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put this out for my cash or trash. I think there is a solid chance, and I'm not sure how it works out, depending on where people are bracketed and where people are placed. But do we see 4 SEC teams in the Final Four?
Ooh. I don't think you're too far off base. I mean, the SEC has been just so dominant this year. And I mean, the way they have so quickly, in my opinion, taken over college basketball is crazy. I mean, obviously we had Alabama. They had their shine a couple of years back. And then Tennessee, really, maybe it's Alabama and Tennessee that came in at the same time, really started taking over things. But then, the way other teams just followed behind them, the SEC is just taking over college basketball so quickly. So you're not too far off base with that. I honestly feel like Duke might have a little bit of a shot at it. They might have a little bit of something to say, but I wouldn't be surprised at all, to your point, with 4 SEC teams being in the Final Four. We'll see. And
there's also a team that we're not even thinking of that's also up there in the rankings. We're talking about Houston as well. Houston's going to have something to say about getting into the Elite 8 and the Final Four.
Good point.
And, man, like you said, last year they came up short coming in that Final Four. And like I said, I had them in my Final Four, and they lost in the Elite 8. So they're going to definitely get in some great play in this tournament. But like you said, man, the SEC is just dominating this season. So it's going to be an insane tournament.
Look, when it comes to SEC teams in the Final Four, you forgot to mention one team, Auburn. I've not been so hype on an Auburn team since Sharif Cooper days, when Sharif Cooper was heading into Auburn. Last year's Auburn team was a little bit of a letdown. They lost to Yale in the round of 32.
A little bit.
So, that kind of busted my bracket, unfortunately.
Shout out to Gavin, man. That made him cry.
Yeah, that made him cry. I like their young freshman, who has been one of the top freshmen in college basketball this season in Pettiford. And this Auburn team, when it comes to top 4 teams in that SEC, it'd probably be Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida. And those are my top 4. But you also can't discredit teams like Kentucky that's out there.
Missouri, Kentucky.
Vanderbilt is making a strong
20-win team.
So
Jackson, Kentucky's your team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round of 32, they're out of here.
Yeah.
And you know what? I had to sympathize with you, Jackson, because Kentucky, they've been without their top 2 scorers. I mean, for most of SEC play, top 3 scorers even. And so I feel like if you are a little more healthy, I'd probably have a little more faith in you guys. But this is going to pay me to say, because I'm a diehard Florida State fan. We're not even going to make the NIT. Don't even look at me if you're looking at me right now. Yeah, but the Florida Gators, to me, I think is going to be the team that comes out of the SEC tournament. And I think Florida is going to be the team to look out for in March Madness. Because when I look for a team to make a deep run, I look for two factors. I look for rebounding, and I look for just overall turnover ratio. Florida's rebounding is so unbelievable. I mean, the way they they have, I think, the second most second chance points in the SEC, and in a conference that stacked, when you got teams like Auburn and Alabama sitting there, just tall forwards that you have to go up against, and they're still able to box out and get boards and put up second chance opportunities. That's a team that's going to be hard to take down if you can't box out and win the rebounding game. And we've seen highly ranked teams like a Virginia, like a North Carolina, drop games to lesser opponents because they can't win the rebounding game.
You know who don't want to see Florida? You know who Florida doesn't want to see though?
Who's that?
Them dogs.
Hey, look. I was waiting for somebody to say it. I was waiting for it.
If you looked at that reel, man, I'm saying, man, the Bulldogs, they gave them Gators some trouble, man. The Bulldogs have had some insane wins this year, and like the fact that after 2 decades, I might get to see a Bulldogs run in the actual NCAA tournament and not the NIT. Thank God.
Oh, they just find a way to win at least like one game. If they can like make it to the round of 32, like that's all I hope, man. That's all I want. Just make it out of the round of 64.
My whole thing is, my goal is just like at the beginning of this year, is like just make the tournament.
Yeah,
and they literally, after getting that win against Florida and then getting that win against South Carolina, they got the game against Vanderbilt, which is going to be tough. Vanderbilt's not a team that you can just like walk over, man. Vanderbilt beat Missouri.
That's another team, man.
Vanderbilt's not a team that's you can just overlook. So that's going to be an insane game, and this SEC tournament's going to be one to look at.
It is. It's going to be entertaining.
SEC, hey, whichever SEC team comes out of that, they might be favorites in the tournament. But you know what? Let's go ahead and get into some lottery.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select.
This is the lottery.
Timeout. Who hit that note?
That
was good.
Hey, look, sorry. I had to shout him out. Like, shout out Dusenbell, man. I had to clear my throat real quick.
Musical genius.
Hey, look, so this, if in case anybody doesn't know what this is, lottery, we're going to talk about players or teams that we are high or low on. And you know what? Let's go ahead and let's start it off with Dylan.
Okay.
Dylan, I want you to tell me, just a team player. It could be anything, man. College, baseball, we got that coming up. Braves playing.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about a team or player that you are high or low on this year.
Well, Steven, you said it a little bit. I'm going to go actually into the baseball realm here. Opening day's coming up March 27th for the Atlanta Braves.
Can't wait.
We need to be high on the Atlanta Braves. They were a sleeping giant last year. Everybody got hurt. Spencer Strider, Ron Acuna Jr., everybody was in and out of the lineup. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, everybody. Michael Harris as well. We need to be high on the Atlanta Braves. Unfortunately, Sean Murphy's going to miss the beginning of the season, but I like Drake Baldwin. I think Drake Baldwin can get the job done while Sean Murphy is out. We need to be high on the Atlanta Braves because guess what? If they stay healthy, they are a World Series contender. Do you hear me? They are a World Series contender. We need to be high on the Atlanta Braves. That's my lottery.
So you're talking about a National League East team or a National League team in general in the Atlanta Braves, correct?
Correct.
How can you be high on the I'm high on the Atlanta Braves, but how can you be high on them being a World Series contender when you have the Los Angeles Dodgers in that same league?
I don't care about the Dodgers, man.
All those acquisitions and guys like what? They brought back Teoscar Hernandez, Roki Sasaki, Michael Conforto, Blake Snell.
100%.
Who else was brought in? Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott, one of the best retailers in the game.
Sorry to burst your bubble, Jackson, but sometimes teams that are just underlooked and like teams that sometimes
it
just depends.
Runs.
Listen, my deal with baseball always remains the same. It's not about what you do from May to June. It's about getting hot at the right time and being that team to go into October. And look, I'll give the Dodgers credit. I did not think that with that lineup, because I think they have a top-heavy lineup. I really think they. Don't get me wrong, lineup's still unbelievable, one of the best in baseball. But it's like, okay, you got like Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, and Will Smith at the top. But then you go towards the bottom and you got a couple of question marks there. Right. You're not sure what you're going to get. And Braves, man, they had that 1 through 9, and I feel like if we would have just stayed healthy last year, we would have had a deeper run of the playoffs than what we did.
Think about it. The Braves had 89 wins, even with all the injuries that they sustained.
Yes.
Well, found a way to make the playoffs. And if Chris Sale could have pitched, maybe they get past the Padres. Who knows? But I get you with the Dodgers, Jackson. The Dodgers are definitely a formidable opponent. Don't get me wrong on that. There's no debate on that. But I mean, we've seen a Braves versus Dodgers series. We know what that looks like. And yes, we don't have Tyler Madsick. Yes, we lost A.J. Minter. I get all that. But I just feel like the Braves have been overlooked because, they haven't been healthy over these last couple of years. Ronald Acuna Jr. did miss most of the season last season, only played like 6 weeks. Spencer Strider did miss most of the season. So I just feel like the Braves are one of those sleeping giants that if they can stay healthy, will be woken up.
Hey, sorry, 2 things, and then I'm going to talk about with the Braves and everything. One thing that I am high on this year is that this outfield is a top 5 outfield when healthy. Jurickson, Profar, Acuna, and Michael Harris being in the outfield makes this a stacked lineup.
Yes.
And it's defensively, it's incredible. Jurickson Profar brings such a great piece into this lineup that desperately needs somebody to, be on base a lot and somebody that brings power. Now, on the opposite side of stuff that I'm really low on this year, man, that bullpen is trash.
Oh my goodness,
don't get me wrong, man. We got Raisel Iglesias, a great closer.
No
Pierce
Joe.
You're not wrong.
No Joe Jimenez.
Joe Jimenez is out for the season. Pierce Johnson, he's going to have to step up into a bigger role, and I don't know if I trust Pierce Johnson all the way to step up in those 7th inning, 8th inning situations.
Here's why I just gotta say this, and I'm gonna go back to the point you made about it's always who's hot in October. I mean, we go back to the 2019 Nationals. Nobody ever saw them as a World Series favorite.
The 2023 Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and I go as far as say the Rangers as well. The way they turned out mid-July, and like you said, it's all gonna be about overall health. But you go back to what the Braves did in 2022. Though we didn't win the World Series that year, that is undoubtedly one of the best offenses the game of baseball has ever seen. The year after the World Series won, when Acuna had that
it was 2023. 2022. 2023 was the year that we set the home run record.
You're right. Okay, So regardless, though, and you got the bullpen concerns for sure, and the Braves are still looking for a reliable 5-hole in that rotation. It's probably going to be A.J. Smith-Sawyer, the way we kind of seen him get warmed up in spring training. But you look at Acuna. I mean, though those, prior to injuries that he's had with the ACLs and UCLs, he's not going to be the aggressive base runner that we're used to seeing him. But his production at the plate is still going to be prominent. And people seem to forget and kind of hold back on what Acuna's going to be doing at the plate. But just like we saw in that grand season of 2023, though the bullpen might be taking some hits, if the Braves can get that consistent run support to carry us all the way to October and keep those bats hot, that's what I like to see for the Braves in a World Series run.
I have a cash or trash, and sticking on the topic.
Lottery.
A lottery. My bad. I have a lottery.
Goodness.
Sticking on the topic of Braves pitching.
Let's go.
There is a pitcher I am high on, and I want to propose a question to this. Yes, actually, it is Schwellenbach. Schwellenbach, I'm really high on. And
absolutely,
I was looking at all the statistical categories, and they have him ranked in top 5 in strikeouts and top 5 in wins in the National League this season. So I want to propose a question to the 3 Braves fans here at this table. Schwellenbach, will he surpass Strider coming off an injury? Will he surpass Sale as the top pitcher this season?
Schwelly is going to be an incredible 3 guy. I think he's 3 in our rotation, and that's a perfect place for him. Coming on the back of Chris Sale and Spencer Strider to be our 1 and 2 guys for the season. You have Schwelly, who, like I said, he's going to fill the spot of what Max Fried was. Losing Max Fried is a big blow to this team because we've relied on Max Fried to be our guy for years, and now Max, I hope you have a great time with the Yankees. But now Schwellenbach, it's a young guy that has come in and just surpassed all of the expectations that we had for him because when he came in, we just thought he was going to be a spot filler. I mean, we were focused on guys like Hurston Waldrop. We were focused on guys like A.J. Smith-Shawver, but Schwellenbach really stepped up to be a really solid guy in our rotation. So I think Schwellenbach's going to be a great 3 guy, but he's not going to be our ace.
He's what Bryce Elder wishes he was.
Bryce Elder's never. Man, I hope I never see that man in my rotation again. If we could just get him in the bullpen and have him stay there real quick, then that would be fantastic. Before we end this segment, I got to give some love to an American League team that I feel like I've kind of looked over, and they made the playoffs last year. They were in the division series, and they just missed out. I think they lost to the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I know who you're going with.
You're talking about the Tigers, right?
Okay,
Tigers.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look, they got Jack Flaherty back.
Which is crazy.
They got Jack Flaherty, which is a great addition to that rotation. And last year, man, they had Skubal. This rotation is solid, and they brought they haven't really lost any pieces on the offense. I think the offense is going to remain steady this year. Guys like Reese Olson is back in that lineup.
They have a young guy by the name of Jackson Jobe, who's the number 4 pitching prospect currently.
Yeah, they've got guys on this Tigers offense that's just that really stepped up. And like you said, they were the team last year that I mentioned so much about, getting hot at the right time. They were the team in the month of September last year.
Knocked out the Astros.
It was insane. They were not going to make the playoffs, and then they had a hot September to barely get into the wild card. So I think this year, on the back of that incredible pitching rotation, and they have a solid bullpen as well, I think that this Tigers team is going to make some headway this season, and I think they have a chance at making the CS.
Ooh, that's what I was just about to ask you, Steven. How far you got them going? CS?
I think they can make the CS.
Okay.
Now, listen, man, I feel like the American League's, I've been talking about it. They got the Red Sox. They got the Red Sox and Yankees are the two teams that I'm looking at right now that are just their heads above the rest.
Right.
But like you said, if the Red Sox and Yankees face each other in the DS,
they're going to beat each other. Somebody's got to lose.
Somebody's got to lose. So you know what? I like the Tigers this year. I think the Tigers are going to make a big run. But with all of that being said, let's go ahead and give some love to our other stations here, and all the shows, and just make sure that we are giving them the proper respect that they deserve. And when we get back, we're going to get fired up because it's March Madness, baby.
Hey, do you want to be part of Wolf Sports Network? Yeah! Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us. Woohoo! So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through a WIT program right now. Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling
Back.
great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Let me tell you all about this new show that's going to be on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all college basketball, football, and baseball. Every Tuesday at 6. The Playbook, only on Wolf Sports Network. Man, this beat brings back memories.
Well, first we were a podcast to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. Then we turned into a live show.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Triple Threat live show.
And this semester is our final ride. But don't worry, we're not going to stop with the action. From our debates in triple play and the best snake drops across the nation.
Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers. No! You don't want to miss out, so tune in every Friday from 11 to 12 only on Wolf Sports Network. Well, first we were a podcast to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. Then we turned into a live show.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Triple Threat live show.
And this semester is our final ride. But don't worry, we're not going to stop with the action. From our debates in triple play and the best snake drops across the nation.
Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers. No! You don't want to miss out, so tune in every Friday from 11 to 12 only on Wolf Sports Network.
In a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign, reminding you there is no drinking under the age of 21. Never drink and drive, even if it's one beer. And add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex, which means know your limits. And, hey, don't jump me. Hey, look. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to boost literacy rates with our pre-K book drive. Our ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's pre-K monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. Together, Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network will make a brighter future. Visit wolfradio.com/book drive. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get fired up.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Fire me up. You know, most of the time when we do this, it's about complaining because, listen, as Atlanta sports fans, we have had a lot of times to where we have to complain about our teams and what they're doing. And, you know, like, I can't really say much about the Hawks because they just stay. They stay in the middle of the road. They don't really go high or low. Yeah. It's just constantly mediocre. But here's one thing that I feel like me and Dylan are kind of connected on. It's the fact that these Bulldogs, are going to make the NCAA tournament. And they could make a I'm not saying they're going to make Sweet 16 or anything, but they can make 32.
They can make 32.
I like the
I'm with you,
optimism.
Steven. I'm with you, brother.
32. So, man, and listen, I want to give a shout out to just this new cast of characters that we got, and more specifically, a star in the making, in Asa Newell. That man has been cooking this season, and it's been the main driving force of what Georgia's been able to do this season. And like we said, if they can just get this win over Vanderbilt, and
that's
if they
going to
can
be tough.
just get a decent performance in the tournament, I'm not saying they have to win the dadgum thing. I don't think it's going to happen. But if they can at least get maybe 1 or 2 wins in that tournament, man, we're in it. We are in this NCAA, and I get to watch Bulldog basketball.
Talk to him,
finally,
Steven.
after 2 decades, get in this tournament and play on the tournament that I have been watching for 2 decades.
I hate to burst your bubble. Now this Vanderbilt team is on a hot streak right now.
Yeah, but look who's favored. Who's favored.
Despite, I had this discussion yesterday. Despite their 8-8 conference record, they are currently 20-10 with their recent loss to Arkansas. Blah 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 blah. I don't care. Vanderbilt. You know, they again. I would get fired up about my Kentucky team, but was there to get fired up about?
I get it. I understand. Vanderbilt's a great team.
Vanderbilt's a good team.
Now, but if we were playing in Vanderbilt, I would be a little worried. I'd be like, when we're away, we're not that great. But guess what? Y'all are in Athens. You're in Athens. And Georgia Bulldogs have been great at home this year, and they're going to have another solid performance and get this dub over Vanderbilt.
Let them know.
Hey, if Georgia can beat Florida, they can beat Vanderbilt.
Can I say,
that's all I got to say.
I'm a very big fan of blue cane. I love how the student section brings the blue canes. They chunk it in the air every time he hits a 3. But I will say, I haven't watched too much Georgia basketball, but a good buddy of mine, shout out Wyatt Lee, a.k.a. the Catfish Cowboy, he keeps me updated on these Georgia Bulldogs. And what he tells me, and that this is his biggest pet peeve with the Bulldogs this year, is that he believes that they shoot the 3 ball way too much. I think they're shooting like 32% as a team from 3. And he says, but every time they attack inside, it's so much more efficient. So I think maybe Georgia needs to back off on the 3-point shooting and play some good old-fashioned basketball, which I think they're fully capable of doing. But what I also do understand about the Georgia Bulldogs is that they seem to die in the second half. I remember I did watch them play the Aggies a couple weeks ago, and they were up by 12 at halftime, and then 10 minutes into the second half, they only had 6 points, and they ended up losing by 19. So I don't know. It's just a tale of 2 different halves, it seems like, for this Georgia Bulldogs team. But I think if they can fix that issue, there's a lot about this Georgia team I personally like.
Hey, man.
I was going to say very quick with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt excels at offensive rebounding. Georgia, on the other hand, not so much. Not so much.
But we excel in Athens,
as long as you can counteract that, I see this. I can see this Georgia team coming out with the W.
And you're 100% right. We haven't been exactly great off of the glass this year.
Yeah.
But one thing, like you said, is that it all depends on how we're going to be able to do interior. Wyatt's 100% right. We do rely on the 3 ball a little bit too much, and we try to shoot outside of the arc. But I feel like if we can just use the big man and Austin Newell and be able to get inside and shoot the 2 ball and be able to be well on the field goal percentage, then Georgia's going to be able to get this win, and they're going to be able to perform well in the tournament. Now, am I saying the Georgia Bulldogs are going to go Elite 8 or anything like that? No. We're just not that team, and we never perform well in the second half. But to get a berth in the NCAA tournament is a step in the right direction.
Facts.
And we are building a team that is going to perform well in future. And actually, let's not make this be consistent. Let's not have this just be a one-off, like we make the tournament and then we fall off next season. No, this is the start of something new, man. This is the start of a Georgia Bulldogs team that's going to consistently be a problem in college basketball and make the NCAA tournament. Now,
the start of something new.
Hey, me and you, same like High School Musical. But hey, Dylan, I just wanted to go to you. What is going to be the main driving force with this Bulldogs team to perform well against Vanderbilt and to have some success in the tournament?
That's a great question. It can't just be Asa Newell. It can't just be him performing. Silas DeMary Jr., who has been performing well over these last couple of games, he's got to continue that. And it has to be the other guys, Blue Cane as well.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, it has to be a full team effort as far as scoring the basketball. And then y'all touched on it as well. They cannot fall off in the second half. The second half, it seems like it's been their Achilles heel all season long. They'll have halftime leads and they'll just let them slip away because they just, for some reason, disappear in the second half. So they have to find a way to not only do what they do in the first half, but keep that going in the second half. And it's got to be guys other than Nathan Rule stepping up every single night. It can't just be, Blue Cane one night and then Silas DeMary Jr. one night. It has to be a full team effort. And that's really the big three to me as far as Asa Newell, Silas DeMary Jr., and then Blue Cane. Those three guys have to come consistent every single night.
I have a quick question. Give me score predictions before we run out of time here.
I got Georgia winning 88 to 85.
I think Georgia wins this pretty comfortably. I'm going to say 72-59.
Give me Georgia. I'll take it 74 to 62.
I'm going to put devil's advocate here. I'm sorry, guys. I got Vanderbilt winning 80 to 72. It's going to be a close game, but I like Vanderbilt.
Can't wait for my Bulldogs to prove you wrong. But with all of that being said, that is all we have time for Out of Pocket on the show. I want to thank Dylan, Mathews, and make sure y'all are tuning in to 92.9 The Game, to where you can hear this man giving his sports takes and just continue to do what he does, man. He does a great job for their station.
Absolutely.
And it's, hey, man, I love listening to him in the mornings, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for having me. Y'all keep doing what y'all are doing, man. And y'all make sure y'all keep rocking with Sports Out of Pocket, man. And the whole Wolf Sports Network, they're doing their thing, man.
Hey,
Appreciate
man,
y'all having me.
We don't
West Georgia's grass is a campus legend right here, Jackson.
That's a true campus legend.
We don't have a lot of weeks left, man. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe I'm graduating this semester. That's crazy.
Too fast.
Hey, but real quick, make sure y'all are tuning into Sports Pack tomorrow from 6 to 7 and Triple Threat on Fridays at 11 o'clock. And hey, look, man, y'all keep on tuning into this new show, giving the playbook some love. Lots of shows on Wolf Sports Network, man. It's crazy. We're giving out a lot of content, and I'm just so glad to be a part of it. But with all that being said, we will see you all next week, Wednesday at 5, same time, Out of Pocket. We're out of here.